Bonjour din naman mga ganadug. Nagani binays nindago, makon nindudem. Mas mabakan sa kari is gonna get when you bayan. Di bakwe yang Waabooz nagong.
Ujung ke kena uya ni ci bimadazi. Nu de nansi ko indigo, hoping is in the kazama jaganashimawin. Making acting do them, Tawanish gonna get in and do dream of wild health in Danoki.
Hello everybody, today we're gonna do some fun cooking activities here at Dream Wild Health Farm. We got some red willow skewers and we're gonna skew up some snowshoe hare, some domesticated bunnies with some of Dream Wild Health's produce, and we're cooking it over open fire today.
Thank you for listening and keep learning about your ways. They're brown in the summer and then they turn white in the winter. And then there's some birds like that too, like ptarmigan is a kind of a bird that's brown in the summer and then turns white in the winter. The Arctic fox are like that. They are brown in the summer and then turn white in the winter. So camouflage, right? So they can hide in the snow. Interesting that a polar bear never turns brown, but you're thinking in their original way that they were living, it would be snowy all year round.
Yeah. So today we got some rabbits and we're going to do a fun cooking demo with you all. This past weekend, Hope and I were up at Bad River, Red Cliff and Madeline Island, looking at what's around and what's ready to be harvested, and also visiting some really cool elders up on the island and hearing some amazing stories. So part of our trip up there, we went to go harvest some red willow. Normally it's harvested in the wintertime. We like to harvest it when it's bright red, and we can make our traditional tobacco with that, the Mitagoa Sema. And that tobacco is used in everyday life. We use it for offerings, we use it when we go out and harvest. If we want to ask an elder a question, put it in our pipes to pray. And we just harvested this today so we can make some skewers out of it. So everyone's going to have the opportunity to make a skewer, use the pocket knife to bring that stick up to a point. And we got some nice vegetables from the garden. We got red bell peppers, we got red onions, white onions, patty pan squash, and zucchini. And we got some beautiful rabbit here as well. So if everyone wants to grab a stick, we can show how to properly make a point. So everyone be careful when you're using the knife. You want to make sure that you have the blade pointing away from you, and always cut away from yourself. We do have traditional tools that are used to cut towards yourself, like a crooked knife. So we're just going to take a knife and we're just going to scrape this down until everyone gets a point. So, pull out that snowshoe here, that wild caught one. And to get started, we can take off the head. You can just cut it off like such. And we don't waste any meat. So we're gonna save this and maybe put it in a soup. You know, when I was butchering up the other rabbits, there's a lot of small parts where you can't really get a good chunk of meat off. So I'll probably take this home and make like a rabbit stock, or just throw it in a soup and they can just eat around the bones. So as you can see, we got the legs, back hind legs and the front legs, and the stomach. This hasn't been gutted yet, so we're gonna gut this and pull out the entrails.
Remember yesterday I did that to my own skin, and I said, this is my skin. Everybody's, you know, all living mammals have skin. I'm no different than this rabbit. And, you know, I always like to remind people that we can't think we're better than anybody else, right? So you can see that that's just like you. So we don't know, when we cut this open, we don't know what we're gonna find, but we can certainly see the organs. Back in the day, you wouldn't waste the organs. And then yesterday, remember I said every animal has enough what to tan itself? Brains. Delilah knows. So you could crack this open and you'd see the brain, and brains are really fatty. Fat is real hard to come by out in nature. So some tribes would use insects because their exoskeletons are made out of lipids, but you would really value the brains because they're going to be fatty. So you can use it for tanning, or if you want to make like fat's delicious to us nowadays. So you definitely not want to waste the brain. So what you want to do is you don't want to waste anything. Now, I might use my knife. Is that okay? Do you mind if I use mine?
Please.
Don't want to cut through the through the intestinal organs, because we don't know what it's going to be like once we get in there. So, you know, of course, this is where it uses the bathroom and stuff. So you're going to cut away. Oh, see, I just cut the bladder. That's okay. We're going to wash that off anyway. So you can cut through the meat. Did you see that? So you saw it opens up. So you're going to want to do it. I'm going to do it here. Break the hip bones. Oops, sorry. There we go. So now I'm going to use my knife to cut through, and I don't want to have this part heading down, because that means I'm just going to cut into the organs. Now back in the day, you wouldn't waste any of this. You would find a way, because you know, you don't want to disrespect the animal. I told some of you guys about like one year when we were here at Dream Wild Health, there was a woman from South America, and we were lucky enough to have a deer. And we said, what do you want first? And me and Ernie, we were more modern natives, and we're like, we want the backstrap, we want the tenderloin. So here you can see, here's the digestive system. Oh, there's its poop, that's its moo. You know when you find rabbit moo?
Smart berries, huh?
Yep, there's a story about smart berries. So for our purposes right now, I'm just going to cut that away. Now you can start to see, so for a deer, this would be called the tenderloin up there. That's the part that people really like to eat, unless I'm saying that wrong. Now you can see, we look to see if the animal is healthy. When you look at an animal and you've gotten an animal, you're going to check its internal organs to see if it's healthy. If it doesn't look healthy, don't do it. Don't eat it. So I know if I get a fish or whatever, I'm going to make sure that its internal organs are healthy. So right here I've got the kidneys. There's a restaurant in Montreal that I remember I would order rabbit kidney as part of the restaurant, because it's an interesting flavor. Some tribes, you use kidney for different ceremonies, right? So do you guys do that? And liver too. So right now I'm getting up into the liver. Now I'm checking out the internal organs. Make sure it looks healthy. So now I'm up into the rib cage. So I don't know what you want me to do with the blood. Do you want me to do something with the blood?
Pour it on the ground.
So yeah, so that...
You probably shouldn't pour it on the ground here, you guys.
Let's put it by the tree. So for that, the young lady who was from the Peru and those areas, she said the blood is the offering. So you want to make sure that the blood gets put back into Mother Earth. You've always got to have a part that is received as an offering.
Okay, that sounds good. We're going to grab a bucket.
Well, I think if we put it by the tree, we'd be good. No?
I don't know.
There's plenty of rabbits that have probably died, and there's cats around here that are killing animals all the time. So I'm gonna go through this, and now I'm gonna cut through the rib cage too. So here's the rib cage. Now we can look in there. This is what they call the thoracic cavity. So now we're gonna look in there. Oh, there's the liver. So we're definitely gonna say, oh, liver is super good for you, because you know, you use it for all sorts of stuff. Do you guys know what that is?
The heart.
The heart, right. So I'm gonna set the heart aside. So we already got the kidneys set aside, and then the liver. Mostly what we eat nowadays is not the organs, but now this is interesting, because you're gonna hear all the time, you'll hear people say, oh, our dogs are not as healthy as they should be because they're not eating organ meat. Well, if it's true for our dogs, it's gonna be true for us. We have to eat organ meat. But the trouble is a lot of times our environment isn't healthy enough to get good organ meat. Does that make sense? So if you can get organic material like animals. Wild animals are the best. So if you can get wild animals, you're going to have the healthiest food. But if you go to the store, it makes it worth it if you can make sure to purchase organic meats. Now, this blood is a gift. It's going to help the soil. Now, to me, I think we're just crazy for not putting it in the soil, because you want to enrich the soil, and blood is some of the most highest impactful stuff you're going to have to enrich the soil. So we're going to wash this. We're going to want to wash this out. We're going to take some of this fascia. This is called fascia. So here's the liver, here's the heart, here's the kidneys, here's that delicious meat right here. We're going to pull some of that out. We might want to pour some of that in a bucket. Now, normally, it's a gift. Like some families will say, you take the heart, especially with deer, and you're going to put that heart as your offering up in the tree. And I know that's true for larger animals. Like for me, that was the way I was taught. When you kill an animal, you're so thankful that it gave its life to you. Now you're going to thank that animal by offering its heart up. You know, like, oh, get your language, give me so you're gonna let them know that you're releasing that for the spirits. Come on over, you guys. So this is pretty much mostly the digestive system right here. And you can see, I mean, obviously it's a rabbit. So you're gonna see, oh, that's the moo, that's the poop, you know. And then if, you know, they're gonna be eating plant material, so they're gonna have a little bit different digestive system than somebody like us. We're not just herbivores, we're omnivores. So because it's harder sometimes to process plants, because they have a lot of silica and different things in there, you're going to see a slightly different digestive system for the herbivores than you do for a omnivore like us. So here's the head. That's where a lot of the fat's going to be. Since this is a wild snowshoe hare, you're not going to see much fat. But you definitely want to honor the organs, you know. So right here, you can see here's the throat. Most people aren't keen on eating any of that. So if you want to, you can just cut it open. Our tribal folks would not want to waste any of it. So a lot of this would go into a soup. As you can tell, I'm breaking the bones. So that way you wouldn't have to waste any of it. Does that make sense? So normally today, humans are mostly eating muscle, and that's not good for us. We need to eat organ meat. So like I said, in the dog foods nowadays, they'll say, oh, your poor dog doesn't get enough organ meat, so they're gonna wanna put this to fortify their systems. We care about our dogs more than we do humans. So that South American native lady, she would say, we're gonna eat this, and it's gonna taste delicious. If you ever been to like a Brazilian steakhouse, they make this delicious. And what they'll do is exactly what she did. You are gonna run water through this, through the whole digestive system, and clean it out, make it nice and clean, cut it up and fry it up, and it's gonna taste like bacon. So it's delicious. The digestive system on most animals, if you get it nice and clean. We did the same thing with the sheep once, where we had a sheep brought here, and then we ran the water through, cleaned it nice and good, turn it inside out, rinse it, and it's delicious. It tastes like bacon. So, because the organ meat a lot of time has a lot of fat on it. So if he's gonna wash this up, we should probably get a bucket, and then we can pull out some of the fascia and stuff. So I'm just looking at him. We want to make sure anything we eat is healthy. So if you see something, if you see a bunch of something in there that doesn't look right, like, oh, that doesn't look right, we don't want to eat it, but everything I'm seeing looks right. So here's the trachea, you know. So for our purposes, I don't know if we're going to rinse out, I doubt we're going to rinse out the digestive system. That's what you'd want to do though. So let's get a bucket and wash this guy off. this girl. Let's see, girl or guy?
Can we get a bucket?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bucket for the rabbit.
Yeah, and with water in it. So I'm just gonna see if I can tell if it is a boy or girl. I think it's a girl. I'm just looking at the biological organs.
It would be like a kitchen bucket, not a farm bucket. Yeah.
Oh, so first thing you want to do is you want to push down those hips and spread those hips out.
Do you mind if I start making some of these skewers
go
with
ahead.
people that are in? Okay.
That's good. Just like that. So now we can take this knife and we can follow along this line. Yeah, this knife's a lot sharper than the last one. Very good. That's real simple. Look at that. That's beautiful.
The snowshoe hair's in there. Where's the legs and stuff of the hair? Are they right in there?
Yeah.
Can we compare the flavor?
Totally.
Let's cut a little
Oh,
piece.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
Yeah. So you can see like the snowshoe
So,
hair gonna
You're
have
gonna
dark
pop
meat
this hip
because all
out
that
like
blood's
that.
going to the
Kind of
muscles.
follow along this
And then the
line.
domesticated rabbit is going to be white meat because it's not exercising. You know, so it said, you want to have dark meat, be exercising and move. Be like Shamira. Yeah.
There we
be
go.
exercising.
All right, now we got the top ones ready to go. So we're gonna try to locate that shoulder blade and we're gonna cut beneath it. So feel where that shoulder blade is.
Go back. What did you put in that rabbit?
Yep, and we're gonna want to cut right
I'd
down
love for you
there.
to try a little bit of snowshoe hair, see if you see a difference in the flavor.
Like that. Yep, and we're gonna move this other leg so we're not cutting into that. Spread it out. Such.
Well, we got the head right there,
Right
the
through.
snowshoe rabbit, the snowshoe hair. So these
There we
are
go.
the hair for us.
And then, anyone want to do the other one?
When it gives birth, it'll have the babies will have hair on them, and they're ready to go.
So
Just
locate
a
the
rabbit,
shoulder
they're
blade
little
and
babies. And the
that
ones
off.
that live around here are all rabbits, but who go up north
Watch your
are all
finger.
hares. So they change color, they'll turn white.
So it might be easier if you kind of lay it on its back and just kind of spread it out like that.
Okay. Oh yeah. I'd love for you to try that.
Very nice.
Cook it all the way through, you guys. Cook everything all for the meat.
Next cut, we're gonna want to chop it right in half. So you can take it, snap it like a chicken wing, and then so we're gonna part this in half. There you go. So you want to kind of follow that line where you cracked it. Just cut that off right there.
You're gonna have to get
You wanna go
real
horizontally.
close with a short stick like
Yep.
that. It's gotta get dark all the way through.
There are still spine in there a little bit, so you're gonna have to push down a little harder. There you go.
Now I'm saying for young ones, for these guys, you want to make sure that wild meats are cooked all the way through because we don't know how strong their digestive systems are. This guy right here was in Africa eating fresh bloodied meats because he's got a very strong digestive system. So if you don't have that, you want to be super careful. Just to be, you're building up your system. You don't want to like experiment around before your system's ready for it.
I'm gonna have all the kids put on their own vegetables, and then we'll put the meat on the end, so that will be like the hottest part of the
Yes,
stick.
and it's gonna be, you're gonna want it to be dark all the way through, just in case parasites, anything like that.
So you guys see all this white stuff that's sitting in the rabbit's stomach? So this is all fat. As you can see with the wild one, there wasn't much fat at all. So we can actually pull this all out and we can save it, and then we can put it in a pan with some water and we can boil it until it turns to a nice pure oil. And that would be like a tallow. So it would be good for months and months, and we can use that for fat for our cooking. That's
I'm gonna use some of this too.
that's a practice that's been seen a long time. You know, that's what we would do if we got a bear. We'd take the fat out and boil it down and make some bear grease. Just to save some time, we can make some cuts on the legs because these are good fatty parts, good meaty parts where we can make some skewers. So if you want to follow along the bone after Hope's done with the knife, we can get some good
Sorry.
pieces from that.
I really want to compare the flavor of the snowshoe hare to the domesticated rabbit. See if I can tell the difference.
Are we cutting up chunks of the snowshoe here?
Oh, yeah, we can. If people want to try it, the difference. So you want to follow along this bone. So just peel it off. So this is a nice chunk of meat, so you can cut that off. And this is another good chunk of meat, and we can cut that off.
Grab one.
Very good.
Put it on your hand.
So this will go in our pile. We can make maybe this would be a good piece too if you want to take this off. But the bones and the small meat little parts that aren't big enough, we're just gonna add that to a pod and make some soup or some stock with it.
Anybody called dibs on the heart yet?
No. If you want the heart, you can have it.
Are we gonna send it? Should I tell them? 10 minutes late for us? Within like 20 minutes?
I love heart myself. Like duck hearts are my favorite thing ever.
The embers are hotter than the flames. The flames are good for causing water to boil. The embers are a higher heat. So if you're cooking meats or something that takes a higher amount of heat, you're gonna want it near the embers. You guys know the difference between embers? Like the embers are the hot, they're glowing red and they're part of the meat. It's not gonna hurt if it touches the embers because it's, as long as it's that hot, it's sterilized. You carefully grab the vegetables.
I can just go. It's really small.
You got that one heart.
You want to help clean out one of the legs? You got that much meat on here. So there's a good chunk right here, so you can make a cut like that. There's another good chunk right here if you want to take that off right there.
Where do you want the poster?
Oh, you can
The
just-
garbage underneath. Or there's one underneath
yeah, you can just put it on the
bench right
ground.
there. There's a bench. Put it in that bag right there.
It's
bang.
completely wrapped up.
Oh, that's
all
not
good.
good.
And you could probably break that knee if you want to.
So it's slippery with the gloves.
Yeah, it is really. It's slippery without
Do you
gloves
want me to
too.
put a different one on your coat?
No, I'm gonna wash these off.
Yeah. Okay.
Good job.
Oh, it's strong. It's a strong one.
Clunk.
As long as it's, yeah, there you go. I should have an easier time getting to it now.
Then cut like here.
Well, you can take this cut right here.
Okay.
Very nice. And this will just go in the soup pile. So we'll make some soup and stock with this. So if you want to change your gloves and grab your stick, we can make you a skewer and you can cook them by the fire. You can just put them on the ground right here. Put them like inside itself.
So sometimes in different tribes, the heart will have different meaning. Like for like a lot of folks that I know, like some Ottawa folks, Seneca folks, Ojibwe folks, if you get the heart of a snapping turtle and you know it's small enough, you swallow it whole for long life. And for the liver of the snapping turtle, you eat that. It's hard to eat because it doesn't, it's a really strong flavor, but it makes it so you're hard to kill. So for you going into the Marines, it would make sense to try to eat some snapping turtle liver before you go. Our bodies we're so used to it, and we got our iodine from the water world. And nowadays we have to get our iodine from salt because we're not eating enough from the water world, like the fish.
Oh really?
Yeah, now that's why you look at your container, it should say iodized salt.
Yeah.
That's why back when I was young, there were so many people, so many native folks had problems with goiters, because goiters happen when you don't get enough iodine. And we had been divorced from our water foods that had some iodine in there. That's why mountain people would try to trade for yellow water lily root, because you could get water nutrition that you can't get in the mountains.
I know you have like cheesy steak sometimes, but it's not like steak flavor. I might want to cook this one a little bit.
I'm just eating this milk here right now. It's super flavorful.
How is it?
Really good.
How is it?
I haven't tried it.
Really good.
Really?
There's like
I just tried the snowshoe here and it's delicious. But now I'm going to try to compare the domesticated rabbit.
oh, it's nice and tender.
Very tender. Much less flavor. Hate to say it, but it's good. Really tasty.
My face burns when I read that.